Hey everyone, Linesman Oz here, and welcome to another first look and possible episode 1 of a game by the name of Endzone: A World Apart. So Endzone is a post-apocalyptic survival city builder where you start a new civilization with a group of people after a global nuclear disaster. Build them a new home and ensure their survival in a shattered world threatened by constant radiation, toxic rain, sandstorms, and droughts. I really like the look of this from the screenshots I saw. So I did reach out to the team to see if I could secure a key, and they were very gracious to provide me with one. So I bring it to you here. It came out in, I believe, full release. We are version 1 down here on the 19th of March this year, 2021, and it was developed by Gentlymad Studios and published by Assemble Entertainment. It's gone off the screen here. WhisperGames and I think someone else. Not showing it on my Steam page for some reason. But yeah, as I said, it's now out and it's available on Steam. In Australia, it's sitting at about $43, which is probably somewhere in the $35 US mark. The exchange rate at the moment is a little poor, if I do say so. But let's jump in, and I have played a little bit of the game just to get a feeling of it. It has some similarities to some other games in this sort of genre, but I'm liking the look of it so far, and the detail and the graphics and everything is quite nice. So let's just hit new game. I am going to hit tutorial, so we'll start playing through the tutorial. And then again, if you guys want to see more of this, please let me know in the comments, and I'll feed it in as another series. So we're going to do the main tutorial, a longer interrelated tutorial that includes all important aspects of the game. Follow Arthur Sorchin's instructions and obtain important clues and useful information to survive in the merciless world of Endzone: A World Apart. Achievements can be unlocked that relate to tutorials. Cool, let's start. It looked like there were other ones that we could have chosen, but I'll do the full one. Right. So here's our game world. See a little
We
bus.
finally left the end zone. Just look at this beautiful scenery. It's marvelous, even though it's a bit different from what we had pictured. We were able to secure a few basic resources and are storing them in our bus. I'm glad we prepared ourselves well for this kind of scenario, especially since our inventories in the end zone ran low. Don't forget that if you need additional information, you can look at our survival guide at any time.
Okay. It wants us to open the survival guide. And you got all sorts of information here. Lots of detail on everything, how to build, weather, health, electricity. There's all sorts of stuff in this list.
Well done. Everything you need to know should be right here. I think the time has come for us to at last build ourselves a new home here.
Sure.
Before we can construct buildings at all, we have to assign the profession builder to several settlers so that they can take care of construction contracts. In general, it's your responsibility to decide which tasks are important and how our settlers are supposed to be distributed to attend to them.
Okay, so nice task list up here. Open the professions menu and assign 3 builders.
All right. Your builders will be ready as soon as construction contracts have been issued. It's time to start focusing on our key and most basic need, water.
All right.
The first thing we ought to do is to establish a working water supply. So we'll move on to our first construction contract. Place and build a jetty by a lake in the vicinity of your town center.
So this is now our town center. We're going to build jetty. Whatever it is on my desk is moving. Please stop. Let's rotate this around. Alright, so you should see some people starting to wander. Here we go. One of our builders. There's another one. Is the third one moving, or is he just chilling? There's the third builder. Alright, so it's going to take them a minute or two at this slow speed. Let's just put it up to fast to get them moving. These two guys are carrying materials down.
Very good. The jetty was completed as planned. Now we have a place where we can collect water. There are other possibilities to gather water too, but the jetty is the simplest and most cost-effective method. We can obtain and store water from different sources, like a jetty, rain collector, or well in the cistern. The cistern should always be in close proximity to a water source, so that our water carriers don't have to walk too far.
Okay, so it wants us to build a cistern. Now the green line on here is the front, which would be where you'd put a road. So if we line this up to eventually have roads running across, and you can't build roads yet, they're not unlocked. It's be in the logistics tab. Eventually you do unlock it during the tutorial, and I did get that far while I was playing around. Right, those guys are going to go and grab materials. This needs some wood and some scrap. And you can see around the map we've got wood and scrap. Lots of trees. We will get told how to collect them shortly. Things make a bit of noise, don't they? Okay. Now they'll build it. Alright. Up here you can also see we need to assign 3 people to the profession of water carrier. And then they will actually go and collect water and deliver it back to the cistern here to fill it up. We need to produce 100 water.
Great. We have now installed a working water supply, and water is now transported from the jetty to our cistern. Consider hiring more water carriers if you don't have enough settlers available. You can never have enough water in storage. Now we should focus on food production. It's important to ensure the supply right from the start. A gatherer's cabin, a hunting lodge, or a fishing hut can directly remedy the situation. I suggest starting with a fishing hut, since we're already located near a lake.
Okay, so it wants us to build under food, a fishing hut. And there was an efficiency score there where we want, to make sure that we're going to be making the most efficient use of our stuff. We need to assign 2 people to be fishers. And then once this is built, they will come and do some fishing. And we'll get a bonus 300 fish as a reward. Yeah, it looks like I've actually played... When I first played this, I played for an hour and a half, straight up. So, for me, it's definitely enthralling enough to keep me just playing and seeing what the next new model is and the next unlock was. So this guy will come down and do a bit of fishing.
Good work. We've now taken care of our basic supply via food and water. Make sure that you have enough food and water on hand at all times, especially if you want to upgrade your settlement. A population that grows too fast can quickly unbalance your food and water supply, bringing major difficulties for you if you don't watch out. Crops are another excellent way of getting food, because they constantly grow as long as the soil is moist enough. Each seed has different yields and growing times. This means that it could take some time until your field is ready to be harvested, in contrast to your fishing hut, where production can be right away.
So it wants us to build a field. And this is one that you can actually just drag out the size. Now, I'm not sure if this is a great idea, but I want to put it down here. Probably shouldn't have gone that far across, should I? We need... Can I delete some? No, there must be a way of bulldozing. Because that probably isn't the best. I'd like to put a road there. Let's see. Oh. Demolish. Demolish the whole thing. Let's try that again. And this time, leave a space for a road. Alright, cool. So again, assign a farmer. And then we're going to choose a seed. So black salsify takes 2.8 seasons and gives 270 food. Cabbage takes 1.9 and does 216 food. I think this is probably the better one. Open the view for environmental irrigation.
Looks good.
Ah,
Remember,
did it in a dry
the
area.
widest variety of food sources to stay healthy. You should also plan ahead for drought periods that might come when it's not going to rain.
Yeah, but see, it's
Stock
starting to
up
dry
on
out.
food and adapt your production to avoid bottlenecks. I'll show
Ideally.
you a few more strategies later on.
That's fine.
At the beginning, we don't have much scrap wood or other resources. We could build a production building, but to obtain resources as fast as possible, it's best that we start gathering right away. Assign a Gather All Resources task. All the settlers who haven't been assigned any...
Okay, so we want to do a gather wood. And I'm going to expand this way while I'm building, because we've got the water. Eventually we can go around to this town area. You know what, let's gather... Let's gather all the wood there, and let's gather all the scrap here. And then 3 settlers available, 2 of 3. So we don't actually have 3 settlers. We do need 1 more person, or a child to grow up. Fine. Or I can drop one of the builders back. For the moment. Let's do that. And that gives us the task completion. Not currently building, so... let's speed up the game a little bit, and you'll see them coming down, and they'll be chopping down trees. Well, anywhere where there's a little axe icon on the ground, or a pickaxe thing here, is where they're coming and collecting items, and bringing them back to the town centre. We managed to get all the scrap.
Since we now own plenty of resources, we can start to build a real production building. Then you don't have to always make efforts by hand that collecting is taking place. Production buildings are not only easier to manage, they are also distinctly more effective than simple tasks. Don't place production buildings too far away from your settlement. You'll be able to change their working area at any time later on. Right on. The best thing for us to do now is to build a forester's lodge to automate our supply of wood and make it more effective at the same time. Foresters are not only able to chop down trees, they reforest areas with trees as well.
Alright, so let's build a forester's lodge. And I'm going to build it like this side of the map. You can see our little road area. Let's do this. And then we can change, once it's built, we can change where it's actually working, and I'll move that to be like here. Then we need to assign someone as a forester. These guys will eventually have cleaned up all the wood in that area. And we can move this if we need to. This would be a good place for us to expand our building around. As I said, to eventually get down to here. I didn't get that far while I was playing the test game as well, but looks like you can actually take down houses and stuff, which is quite impressive. Well, let's speed it up while they build. Delivering the materials. Apparently that's our stock of resources.
Good job. You might want to change this building's working area later on to tell your workers where they should get their wood from.
Let's actually
and for your information,
keep it here.
If you want, you can also tell your Forester's Lodge that they only ought to attend to reforesting an area in order to create a lush, green forest, which generations to come can use.
So I'm going to set them to cut down and reforest. What I should probably do is set this to be like here and set it to cut down only, and then move back over here once we've cleared out some space here.
Very good. Now we ought to take care of collecting scrap. Scrap is one of the most valuable resources because the quantities present are limited, and we can recover other resources from scrap. Unlike the task we just had, the scrap yard allows larger quantities of existing scrap to be dismantled than with ruins or wrecks.
Okay. He wants us to build a scrap yard. I'm going to place that somewhere over this side because most of our scrap's over here. Not too far away from the center, but maybe there. And it wants us to assign someone to be a scrap collector. Good. These guys are taking these trees out for us. This has still got 49 wood resources. Now it's got 45. They are going to take out all these trees. Give us a nice area to move through. So these guys should be collecting scrap. There we go. I should build that now. Very good.
Great. You can change the working area for the scrapyard too. We can recycle scrap into 4 additional resources: cloth, metal, plastic, and electronics. We'll do that shortly, but for now we ought to take care of your settlers' needs first.
Okay.
Our people want a place to sleep and live. Cabins fulfill their need for safety and privacy, and increase the confidence of their inhabitants. In other words, building cabins increases their willingness to start families and reproduce, if you know what I mean.
Sure. Build 8 cabins. Housing cabin. So let's 1, 2, and then we'll leave a gap. Then we'll rotate this around. There's our 8 cabins. And they don't take, what do they take? A little bit of wood, a little bit of scrap. Not sure how many models there are, but different. That one's not quite as ugly as that one. I don't know what the difference is. Anyway. This one's apparently pretty. Well, it's not terrible. Okay, so we have an oncoming drought. How much water do we have? 1,000? 100? It's alright. Oh, sorry, that's food. 2,300 water. This one's ugly looking. I don't know what its problem is. This has a little exclamation or question mark on it, so there's no wood nearby, so we can actually remove that job now. Same with this one, there's no little things for them to pick up, so let's get rid of the tasks. One day I will find out what it is that's moving on my desk. Alright, so we just needed these 8 cabins. There's number 6. Down here they're harvesting the cabbages. And the system seems to be full.
You can also provide sturdy houses and shelters as housing. Sturdy houses withstand sandstorms better and have an increased storage capacity to boot. Children living in houses gradually fill up the house's stockpiles. Settlers do not reproduce in a shelter because they lack privacy. Let's return from our excursion into housing and refocus on scrap. With the help of a recycler or refinery, scrap can be sorted into 4 different resources. A recycler always takes scrap apart, one resource at a time, while a refinery automatically produces all 4 resources. To start off, you should build a recycler and produce cloth.
Will do. We're going to build it near the scrap thing so that they can deliver. We put the recycler here. We will need 3 eventually. 2, 3. Yep, get them along here. We're going to assign someone to the refiner role, and we actually only had the 1 spare person. Oh no, we only have the 1 available job of 1. Shouldn't take too long to get built. How are you doing? I might now move you back over here. Just to, that's probably enough room to clear through. In worst case, I'll set up one of those tasks and have them clear an area. Probably got a lot of wood at the moment. We got 400. We're just chilling here. You've like got somewhere to go and hide. You can see each house has their job on their person's name.
You can instruct your recycler to produce a different resource at a time. It's important that you focus on the resources you really need, at least in the beginning. Cloth and metal look like good options if you want to equip us with protective clothing and tools. Happy settlers are industrious settlers. That's why we ought to look after our people and protect them against the surroundings and dangers, like radiation. So let's start by transforming our newly recovered cloth into protective clothing. A tailor will be able to help us with that.
Good stuff. Let's build a tailor shop. Put it there. We'll eventually have a road coming through here. But they can get the cloth straight from here because that's what we've got it set to. They're producing cloth and they'll be taking it to here, and you know, if they need to drop it off here on the way, maybe that's the thing. Right, we need to put someone as a tailor, and they will produce neck scarves. And it wants us to click on this button to show the environmental radiation. I guess if we move around, maybe there's areas that are higher than others. Oh, I guess this is some low stuff. The green blob here, it's a bit of low radiation. Yeah. Ooh, interesting. Like it looks like a hospital. There's a huge map, like really, really large map, and lots of availability to spread out. Okay, so that's built.
We categorize environmental radiation into 4 levels: no radiation, low level, medium level, and high level radiation. The radiation changes constantly and is influenced by weather and contaminated rain. Protective clothing helps to protect us against this kind of radiation, but it takes a while before it's produced. And production relies on a steady flow of incoming resources. Try to establish production chains at an early stage and start to stockpile goods so that some are always on hand. The tools we brought along from the
Set
Endzone
limits
are
here
slowly
too.
but surely running out. So now, let's focus on manufacturing new tools. The tools will help us to work effectively. We'll need metal for that, so we'll prepare for production by building another recycler, which we'll commission to recover metal from scrap. After that, we'll need a workshop to enable the manufacturing of brand new tools.
I'll make a double wide path. Okay, so those two there, we need another refiner. One of them, and where's the refiner? There it is. Couldn't see it for a moment. And this guy will produce metal. Once they're built, the rain, wait, sweeps across. Impressive. Even if we are running it in fast speed, not fastest is. I mean, normal's a touch slow for me. Got only one in the middle. And they're building. We want to set up metal tools. Yes. And they're going to build 2 metal tools. So they will need some metal, some scrap, and some wood. Otherwise, you can have this kind of dodgier tools if you make them out of scrap. I wonder if I should kind of want to build a second farm here. 1 second. There is no water. It's gone. I don't think I've ever seen that empty. Like in the last playthrough, that stayed full. Uh-oh. It's definitely a drought. We definitely need some more food. Slow it back down. Let's... Oof. Looks like we're... should be getting some rain soon, but... Oof. Hopefully that water's fairly full and food is fairly full. These are growing alright. We need
With our lovely new tools, we are now prepared to work effectively. Should you ever run out of metal, keep in mind that you can also instruct your workshop to manufacture tools from scrap instead of metal. Though they won't be quite as effective, it's still better than being forced to work with bare hands. Down in the Endzone, we had sufficient time and resources to educate ourselves properly. But our children don't have this luxury. We ought to build a school and pass on what we've learned. As a result, they will be able to survive and work better and more effectively.
Let's build a school. Kind of want to keep the production over here. Let's put the school... I wouldn't want a school on the back fence, but... this is how it is. We actually need... we've got some children that are getting close to becoming adults, which will be good because then we'll be able to assign them a role. We have no spare people. Short of dropping one of the fisher people off because there's no water. It doesn't hurt.
Perfect. Besides the fact that educated children work more effectively, we'll also teach them to be more careful with their protective clothing and tools. This, in turn, leads to them staying intact longer, and we conserve valuable resources.
Nice.
Now that our population is starting to grow, we ought to again turn our attention to the topic of food production. We're already accumulating fish and tilling our fields. A gatherer's cabin will now enable us to gather mushrooms and berries from the forest nearby.
Alright, let's build a gatherer's cabin. Although, let's just pause here. It's just gone over the 30-minute mark. Let's move away from whatever that noise was. So this is Endzone, A World Apart. As I said, it's available on Steam. It looks like there's a bunch of different things that we can build. Look, I mean, look at medical facilities and warehouses, power eventually. So definitely a lot more content to be had here. If you're interested in the game, follow the links down below. It will take you over to the Steam page. You can check it out. Otherwise, if you want to see more of this, please, again, as I said at the start, let me know below, and I'll do at least a mini series on this game. I am enjoying it though, so I may do it anyway. But please let me know your thoughts on it. Until next time, thanks for watching. Comments below, and I'll see you then. Bye now.